Yo, what is going on, guys? Adam here. Today, yeah, you see these two spawn trap zones. That has nothing to do with the video. It's just there, right there. Right there, right there, right there, right there. We are doing uh, I wouldn't say a run overview, but I'd say a run through of all the Magic the Gathering decks I have. I'm expecting for this to take like 5 to 10 minutes, but when I think that, they usually go in for they usually go for about 20 to 25, maybe 30 minutes. So if you are ready for this video, perfect. If you aren't, come back, hit that save to watch later, and watch it later. Without further ado, we're gonna start off with the non-commander decks because yeah. So this is one of the main staple cards for the deck. The first one, as you can tell, this is Jace's Erasure. It's one and one of any and a blue. I'm saying this just for those that don't play the game because I'm assuming people that aren't watching the game are gonna watch this from the group I'm in. So I'm gonna explain it. So this is the name, the type, the effect, and some extra text. That's the color of the symbol changes depending on the rarity. That is a common. I'll show you other ones later. So it'll take one of any plus an additional blue. And this card states, whenever you draw a card, you may have target player put the top card of his or her library into his or her graveyard. Basically, this just depletes your opponent's deck, or depending on the deck you're running, it can help you out a little bit. But for the deck that this is primarily just against your opponent, and in the game and Magic the Gathering, we call it mill, because you're milling off your opponent's deck. Another reason why I wanted to do this was so I can reorganize my boxes. I have 3 of them that are specifically Magic, and yeah, I'm not gonna go through all my bulk because that would take me like 6 hours. I know I organized some of them, but I have them all inventoried. Don't get me wrong. I took time to inventory them, but yeah. Let me just get a sip. Good old seat. Canada Dry. So, the next one we have is this one right here. This card right here is Chief of the Edge. It costs 1 white and 1 black to cast. It has the left side is its attack, the right side is the defense, and then its ability is other warriors creatures you control get +1 attack, +1 attack, +0 defense. So as you can tell from that deck, it's warriors. It's a black-white warrior deck. I built it back when it was in Frontier, which Frontier started around Khanja Tarkir, which was around I think 5-6 years ago. About 6 years ago, something like that. And then here's my next non-commander deck, which I'll talk about what commander is in a couple minutes. And then this is Lord of the Accursed. This one takes 2 of any and a black. Now this has 2 effects. One is a passive effect that happens automatically, and then this bottom effect is an effect that happens when you pay the said cost to do it. So this has a power of 3 and a toughness of 3, a power of 2 and a toughness of 3. Its passive effect is other zombies you control get +1 attack, +1 toughness. And then here's this bottom effect, which is a costed ability, or I forget what the actual name is. It's not triggered, but it's you pay the ability cost and you activate it. So takes one of any, a black, and that symbol means to tap. So you would go like this to the creature, and all zombies gain menace until end of turn. Which menace means that if you're attacking with this creature, then it can't be blocked by less than 2 creatures. So I swing. Oh, you have a 1 power, 1 toughness creature. Cool. Doesn't matter. You can't block with it. You would have to have 2 creatures to block it. So that's all menace does. But now we're out of the non-commander decks. And now I have the commander decks, which there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 commander decks. So, yeah, no, it's going to take at least 10, 15 minutes to go through all these. I was going to pick out stable cards as well, but I didn't think about it. We'll start with this one. We got Rafik of the Many. It is for 1 green, white, blue. It's a legendary creature, human knight. This is an orange colored mark, which means it's a mythic rare, which is supposedly the rarest of them all, but you can buy mythics online for like 25 for like $10. So this has two. One is they're both triggered abilities. It has 3 power and 3 toughness. This says Exalted, and sometimes cards will have them in parentheses of what they do. So this one does. It says whenever a creature you control attacks alone, that creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn, which is the point of the deck. It's called Exalted. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gains double strike until the end of turn. Which means if I attack with this, it would be a 4/4, 4 power, 4 toughness with double strike, which means say this attacks and this is blocking. They attack each other, but since this has double strike, it attacks first, so it does the 4, and then it dies because this only has 4 toughness and it had 4 power because of the Exalted, so it immediately dies. And then, but if this had trample, which is a mechanic that any exceeding damage to the creature goes straight to the defending player. So if this had trample, Sigil Behemoth would take the 4 from the first attack, die, and then the controller would take another 4 damage. So the point of the deck, as you can see, here's another one. Then there's stuff like this, which that's an old card, that's Battleground, Dueling Grounds. So there's, the primary thing is, get Rafik of the Many out, get a bunch of Exalted, and then, stuff like Dueling Grounds. No more than 1 creature can attack, no more than 1 creature can block. That's the point of this deck. And then, I will be putting the link to my deckstats.net account, so you can look if you want to like get the list for the decks and like get them yourselves. Those will be on the account. Yep. And I'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of these commander decks are pre-built, out of the box, and I'll let you know what they are when I get to those. Here is Caneus and Tiro of Miletus. You can't really see him. You can't really see the art, but it makes the text look better. So this one is a red, green, white, and a blue, so one of each of those. It is a 2 power with 8 toughness, so it's a bulky boy. Now this says, at the beginning of your end step, draw a card. Then each player may put a land from their hand onto the battlefield. And then it says, then each opponent who didn't draw draws a card. So if an opponent didn't play a land off this ability at the beginning of the first half of the ability, they get to draw an additional card. Oh wait, no. So I draw a card. We can all play a land from our hands, and then if an opponent didn't play a land, they get to draw a card. So the benefit of it is you get to draw an additional card during your turn. So you draw one at the beginning, and you draw one at the end. And then you're able to play an additional land throughout your turn as well, which is really, really nice. But also the point of the deck is Planeswalkers. So that's the point of the deck. There's like 20 or so Planeswalkers in the deck. So like a fifth of the deck. So, oh yeah, I didn't explain what Commander is. Wrong card. But as you can see that there's a legendary creature. Legendary means that say I had 2 of these. So first off, for Commander, it's a 100 card deck. For non-land cards, non-basic land cards, you can only have 1 of each, and you can only go and that can only contain colors of what your commander is. So I can only have red, white, green, and blue cards. They can be multicolors. They can have multiple colors, or they can have single colors. And you can also have, as long as there's a color on the card, you can run that color. And then you're also able to run cards that don't have a color. Those are called colorless. But that's and this deck is called Super Friends, because the point is to help your opponents out while also sneakily getting the win. Here's the next one. This is Elsha of the Infinite. So this is a 2 blue, red, white. It's a 3 power, 3 toughness. It has prowess, which means when I cast a non-creature spell, it gets +1/+1 until the end of the turn. And it also allows me to look at the top card of my library anytime. So my turn, your turn, if there's a third person, fourth person, fifth, whatever. You can also cast the top card of your library if it's a non-creature, non-land. And you can play it as though it had flash, which means you can play it at any time, which is really nice. This is one of the pre-built decks. So as you can see from the text on her, the point of the deck is to play non-creature spells, non-land, non-creatures. So yeah, it's kind of some of these are really, really basic. I'm sorry that I just yawned. I'm sorry about that. But some of them are just really, really basic. This is Melik. Is it Paragon? It is a 2 power, 2 toughness for 4 red and a blue. You can play with the top card of your library revealed. You play with the top card of your library revealed. This isn't a, like, oh, I don't want to, so I'm not gonna. It's a, you have to. And then it says that you may cast the top card of your library if it's an instant or sorcery. And then at the bottom it says whenever you cast an instant or sorcery from your library, copy it and you can choose a new target for the copy. So basically, say I have my hand, and then this is the top card of my library. So we're gonna look at it. It's an instant, and say I had enough to play it. I would have needed 1 and a blue. So yeah, I could probably have played it. So I paid the 2, I cast it, but then his ability activates, allowing me to play it, copy it. So now I have 2 of these. So I would scry 2, which means I look at the top 2 cards of my library on my deck, And if I want to keep them up there, I can. But if I want to keep one of them up there, I can. But if not, they go on the bottom of my library. Then I draw a card. So I'd do that twice. So yeah, the deck is just... It's an old term called Storm. So yeah. Here's this deck right here. This is Caliphie, Beloved of the Sea. This is like one of those star art cards or whatever. So this is Caliphie, Beloved of the Sea. It takes 1 and 2 blue. Its power is equal to the devotion to blue. Devotion just means all those symbols. So it's and then its toughness is 3. Creatures and enchantments you control have spells your opponents cast to target the permanent cost 1 more to cast. So there's no real point of the deck. It's more so what I did was I built one of these for me, one of these for my buddy. My buddies I built more of like a just throw things out, make them fly. That's it. Me, I made it to where I counter and put things back into your hand. There's not much to it. It's kind of just there. This next one is Grumgully the Generous. So he costs 1 red and a green, 3 power, 3 toughness. He's a goblin shaman, so I like goblins. And you'll see that pretty soon. But each other non-human creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter. Which, a 1/1 counter permanently boosts it as long as it stays on the field. But if it goes to the graveyard or back into your hand, it loses that counter. So the point of this is to get things out quick, fast, and big. Bring small things out and make them bigger. And just swing for the win. I'll pull something out. So like this. I search for 2 forests, put them on battlefield, tap for 4. This guy right here. Zertai Ancient. It's a 7/5 for 3 red and a green. When I tap a land for mana, any land, mana means what you need to cast them. Whenever a player taps a land for mana, that player adds an additional of what that land will produce. So if I tap this forest, instead of giving me 1 green, it would give me 2 green. So that's the point of the deck. The point is basically get something like this out by your second or third turn. That's realistically what the goal of the deck is. Yeah, we'll go to another pre-built deck. This is Anya Falconwrath. She is a 1/3 with haste, which means it can attack on the same turn it came in. I can use this effect the same turn it comes in, and it's 1 black red. So I could tap Anya, discard a card, and draw a card. But whenever I discard a card, if it has Madness, which means if I discard it, I can cast it for a cheaper cost. And then I can untap Anya Falconwrath. So that's basically what the point of the deck is. The point of the deck is to stuff like this. So something like this. Floors from under the floorboards. 3 black. But if I discard it, I could pay this cost and exile it instead. It would be X black. Which, so if I paid it for the 5 that it would normally cost, I would create 3 tap 2/2 black zombie creatures and gain 3 life. But if I did the Madness, I would get whatever I pay for the X. Which, say I wanted to pay 8 total. That would be 5 for the X, and then that'd be 6 for the X, and then black. So I'd get 6 2/2 zombies tapped, and 6 life. So So basically, it benefits to discard your Madness cards as long as you're able to play them. We are going to go to my next one. This is Wireless Soul of Steel. So the point of this deck is to get out a bunch of enchantments and auras. So he is a 2/2 human warrior with trample, which means if it exceeds the toughness on the creature, it goes to the controller. Whenever Wireless Soul of Steel attacks, I draw a card for each aura and enchantment attached to it. Auras, you pay the cost of the card, and it goes straight to the creature. Equipments, for the most part, you pay to cast the card, but then you have to pay an equip cost to put it onto the creature. So, let's look at Nettle Cyst and Pure Steel Paladin. So we'll look at Nettle Cyst first. Nettle Cyst is a 3-cost artifact. And it has Living Weapon, which means when it enters, it gets equipped to a 0/0 germ token. So Nettle Cyst says, equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact and or enchantment I control, and the equip cost is 2. It's a really good artifact out of the deck. So say it was on Wyleth. Wyleth would become a 3/3 with trample. So if I were to attack, I would draw one card. And then there's Pure Steel Paladin, which is one of the main staples of the deck. It's a 2/2 for 2 white. Whenever equipment enters onto the battlefield, I can draw a card. And then this Metalcraft means it only gets activated if I have 3 or more artifacts on the field. So yeah. Equipments you control have equipped 0. So if I had this and 2 other artifacts out, I could just go, bam, you're there now. And he would become a 5/5. That's the point of the deck. I might have to cut this into 2 parts. But if I do 2 parts, then they'll go out immediately, one after another. So, yes. I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So I'll do one more for this part. Then I'll do a second part. Will be up like immediately afterwards, which will have just I don't know. We will go off of this one. This is, a lot of people know what this is if you play the game. This is Sliver Hive Lord. As you can see, it takes 1 of each color in the game. It is a 5/5. Slivers are known to give off the ability they have to other slivers. So this creature says, sliver creatures you control have indestructible, which means any amount of damage or destroy effect does not destroy them. So I'll pull out two different ones. I'll pull out a couple different ones. I'll pull out 4. I pulled out 4 different ones. So we have Groundshaker Sliver. It's 6 and a green for a 5/5 that gives slivers you control trample. Here is Hunter Sliver. It's a 1/1 sliver that gives all slivers provoke, which means when you attack, you can force a creature to block. Here is Sentinel Sliver. Slivers you control have vigilance, which means they don't tap when they attack. And then there's Gigantic Sliver, which this is super cool. It's a promo from 2013. to 3/3 that gives all slivers +3/+3. Or all slivers I control +3/+3. So yeah, that is going to end the first part. I want to thank you guys so much for stopping by. I will leave a link to the Discord I'm in. We are the We Suck at Everything Army. We do bi-weekly movie nights. We do weekly game nights. The point of us is to make a good group organization. We are an organization. We are completely sponsored by a company, and I'll get into that company in a little bit. We are a organization that wants to help everybody feel comfortable gaming, and we want everyone to just meet new people. The main goal is meet new people, feel comfortable in the communities that you're already in, where enough that you can just talk to anybody about everything. But our other main goal is to help those streaming to reach that mark they need. For Twitch, it's reaching that affiliate. Once you hit affiliate, then you start making your money, and then you're able to put more money into what you're already doing. And then we get to the sponsor. I'm sponsored personally by them, but our whole organization is sponsored by them. So we are sponsored by W Energy. I've talked about them before in a previous video, but this is what one of our canisters look like. The tubs of W look like. This one is for our Galaxy Grenade. It is a watermelon guava lime explosion. And then I have a Dragonade, which is a dragon fruit strawberry lemonade. And then we have I have a Dub Sludge, which I've heard that they are upping the they're changing the recipe for it, but I can't say for sure about that. So don't come after me if it's not right, because it's just something I heard from somebody else. And then I'm also affiliated with Humble Bundle. If you use my link, if you use my name, Adam Jr. Tiny, it will give you 10% off Humble Choice. I am affiliated with GameStop. I still haven't figured out what the code for that is, but I get like different percentages off different things. And then with W Energy, if you use code WSAE, you will get 10% off your order. We do get a kickback, by the way. Just want to let you know that. It's not just, oh, you're saving 10% and nothing else happens. No, we also get a little bit of kickback. And then, yeah, W, GameStop, Humble Bundle. Oh, I was looking at my finger here, like I'm moving this hand, but it's backwards. But yeah, no, GameStop, Humble Bundle, W. I might be missing one, but I can't remember. So anyway, I want to thank you guys so much for coming by. Remember, code WSAE at checkout for W.GG. They just released a new fruit punch flavored tub that I am looking to pick up on Friday when I get paid. Humble Bundle, use Adam Jr. Tiny for 10% off Humble Choice. And then after you sign up for Humble Choice, I will get a kickback from you signing up for it. And I will get a percentage of your first order as well. And then GameStop, I have to figure out that because I haven't figured it out yet. But I'll see you guys in part 2. Yo, what is going on, guys? Adam here. Welcome to part 2 of my Magic the Gathering decks. I think the first part I said collection, and no. This is not a collection video. There might be a part 3 of going through the binder I have of more of the singles and valuables that are in there. That might be a part 3. But we're going to continue going over the remaining 9 commander decks that I have. And we're going to start off with one of my... We're going to go over my favorite commander deck. And we're just going to start off showing this guy. And now you know what the deck is. Goblins. Yes, sir. This is a foil unstable goblin token. And then here's the commander. There are a lot of goblin cards that I need for this deck that have come out in the past, well, since I made the deck like 4 years ago. So this guy's name is Krenko Mob Boss. He takes 2 and 2 red. He has 3 power, 3 toughness. You tap him, you basically just double the goblins you got. It's pretty simple. Then I got cards in there. Goblin Chieftain gets +1/+1 and something else. There's this card. There's this card. There's Brightstone Ritual. I pay a red, and then I get a red for each goblin in play. These two are basically the same thing, so they're both gonna go right here. We got Goblin Caves. As long as the land this is enchanted to is a mountain, all goblins get +0/+2. So it buffs them up a little bit. And then here is Goblin Shrine, which is, in my opinion, way worse than Goblin Caves, because it's three to play it. You have to put it onto a mountain, and all goblins get +1 power. But if Goblin Shrine ever leaves, each goblin takes 1 damage. So as long as Caves is out, no goblin will die. But sometimes you will destroy Goblin Shrine to get a couple extra damage on something. But that is primarily what Krenko Mob Boss does. We will go next to the deck that has multiple commanders. That you can choose multiple commanders. There are 5 different commanders you can pick. They all basically do the same thing. We'll go with the main commander that I use. His name is Mirko Vosk, Mind Drinker. He is a 2/4 flying vampire for 3 blue and a black. If you remember in the first part, the first deck I showed off was a mill deck. This is all this is. This makes, when this hits an opponent, that player mills cards until they have shown 4 lands throughout all those cards. So, like, some of the cards in the first deck I showed you that was mill were just, 4 cards, 7 cards. No, this is, you could possibly get, like, 15 cards. I'd say 15 because I've seen it happen before. Here's the next one. This one is just kind of there to be there. As I drop a card. But, like I said, this one's in there because it's a mill card, but I'm never going to use it as a commander. It's more of, I play it, and that's it. So this is Phoenix, God of Deception. It's a 4/7 indestructible god. And this came out of a set that had enchantment creatures. Where the set, you could either pay a bestow cost, which means you play it as an enchantment instead of a creature. But then when the enchanted creature dies, it becomes a creature. But this says creatures you control have tap. That player mills X cards where X is the creature's toughness. So if I tap Phoenix for that effect, bang, you mill 7 cards. But there's also a top effect saying, as long as your devotion to blue and black is less than 7, Phoenix is not a creature. So I would need a total of 7 blue and green combined for him to be a creature. Pretty simple, right? Not really. When you're playing a deck that doesn't really have a lot of creatures, even though all 5 of these are creatures. Then we have another one of my favorites. This is Rexiel the Risen Deep. He's a 5/8 Island Walk Swamp Walk for 3, 2 blue, and a black. Island Walk means if your opponent controls an island, they can't block it. Same thing with Swamp Walk. Your opponent controls a swamp, they can't block it. But his effect is nice. So, whenever Rexiel deals damage, combat damage to a player, you may cast target instant or sorcery from that player's grave without paying its mana costs. But then if it would go back to the graveyard, it's gone from the game forever until the game's over. So, he's probably one of the more likely ones I would put out. There is Zadek. This one's more of a, if I feel like being weird and I don't really want to do damage ever, then I'll play him. Play this. This is Zadek, Lord of Secrets. It's 3, 2 blue, 2 black for a 5/5 flying vampire. And it says if Zadek would deal combat damage to a player, instead of dealing that much damage to the player, they would mill that many cards. And then Zadek would become that much bigger. So, say Zadek, I just put him out, next turn, I swing in for 5 and you take 5. You would be Zadek would become a 10/10, and you'd be milling 10 cards. You'd be milling 5 cards. So, he'd get 5 1/1 counters, and you would be milling 5 cards. The next turn, if you somehow couldn't block it, 10 cards, 10 counters. Next turn, 20 and 20, 40, 40, 80, 80, 160, 160, 320, 320. It's weird, but it does the job sometimes. And then we got Lazav Demir Mastermind. There's another version of this that I have in the binder. The binder's right there. The binder's in that Alex drawer right there. There's another version of him I just didn't like, so I didn't put him in here. This is a 3/3 hexproof shapeshifter for 2 blue, 2 black. And then whenever a creature is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, I can have Lazav basically become that creature. It gains this effect, and it gains hexproof. So yeah, basically Lazav just takes over their body. So say my opponent had Zadek, and it just went to the graveyard. Basically, bam. It's Zadek, but it has if a creature would go into the graveyard from anywhere, it can become that with hexproof. It's very hit or miss whether it's good or not. It's in the mill deck because it's a mill deck. We are gonna go with another red deck because I like red. 1, 2, 3, 4 of the next 7 decks have red in them. Here is Torbrin, Thane of Redfell. It is 1 and 3 red. It's a 2/4 Dwarf Noble. So, and it says, if a red source you control would deal damage to an opponent, or permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage plus 2. So, we'll just show off one card. We'll go with realistically any creature would do, but I want something that's like an effect. This. So this does 2 things. So what this does is, this is Scorch Spitter. It's a 1/1 for 1. When it attacks, it deals 1 damage to the player or planeswalker it's attacking. So, yeah. So, off this effect, it does 1 damage to the player. But with Torbrin out, it actually does 3 damage. So when it actually hits the player, it'll do another 3 damage. And then There's cards in here that do like other good things, like this right here. Blazing Volley. It's a 1-cost sorcery. Deals 1 damage to each creature your opponent controls. Instead of each creature taking 1 damage, they each take 3 damage. So yeah. It's really nice. Torben's good. We'll go with... We'll save my favorite 2 for last. We are going on to... a pre-built. This is Obun Moldiah Ancestor. It is a 3/3 for 1 red, green, white. So it says, we'll start with the bottom effect. It says landfall. So whenever a land enters under your control, put a 1 counter on target creature. Pretty simple, right? So then it says, at the beginning of combat on your turn, up to 1 target land you control becomes an XX elemental, where, and with trample, and X is Obun's power. So if Obun is a 4/4, say he's a 3/3 right now. At the beginning of my combat on my turn, even on the turn that he came in, I can make one of my lands a 3/3 with trample and haste. That's basically what he does. He puts lands on the field and makes them elementals. But the thing with doing elementals is, if they were to die, then you don't get the land back. We'll just keep on the trend of the pre-builds. This right here is Calamax the Stormsire. It's a 4/4 elemental dinosaur for 1 green, blue, red. He looks amazing, but he's just not my favorite. Whenever you cast your first instant spell each turn, if Calamax is tapped, you copy it and can choose a new target for it. And then whenever you're copying an instant, Calamax gets bigger. So the point is, play instants, copy them, make Calamax gigantic, swing on in. It's a pre-built. I've used it like once or twice, and that's it. Alright. Here is the next pre-built. We're in the last 4. Last 4 decks. We got Anawan the Ruin Thief. So, Anawan is a 2/4 vampire rogue for 2 blue and black. So, other rogues you control get +1/+1. Simple, easy, straight to the point. Bottom effect. It's a paragraph and a half. Whenever 1 or more rogues you control deal combat damage to a player, the player mills a card for each 1 damage dealt to them. If a player mills at least 1 creature card this way, I draw a card. So basically, say Anawan swings in. It deals 2 damage. You mill 2 cards. Say Goblin Rebel Master, which is a goblin that is really good. Say that goes into your graveyard from those 2 cards. I now draw a card off of it. Like I said, the pre-builts, I haven't touched much. There's one pre-built that I tore apart and rebuilt. And here is my favorite pre-built that I have. This is Lathril, Blade of the Elves. Elves, not my favorite. Goblins and elves aren't really best friends, but I love both of them. This is a 2/3 Menace Elf Noble for 2 green black. Menace, as I said in the first part, you need 2 creatures to block this. Whenever Lathril deals combat damage to a player, I create that many 1/1 green elf warriors. So I swing in, you take 2 damage, I make 2 1/1 elves. And then its bottom effect is its activated ability. I remember what the name was. You tap it, and then you tap 10 untapped elves. Each opponent loses 10 life, and I gain 10 life. So the point of this deck is just play a crap ton of elves, and then just tap, 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 tap. And then last two decks. We're in the home stretch. This is Zimone Quandrix Prodigy. It's a 1/2 human wizard for a green and a blue. This, in my opinion, is one of the better decks, one of the best decks I have built. So her top activated ability is 1 tap, put a land from your hand on the battlefield tapped. So turn 3, play an additional land. So on turn 3, you'll have at least 4 lands out. And its bottom effect is pay 4, tap it to draw a card. But if you control 8 or more lands, you draw 2 instead. So the point of this deck is get lands out, draw cards, that's it. It's really, really easy, really simple, all that matters. We're going to take a part of it, because we have the Dragon. This is 4 and then 1 of each color for a 10/10 flying dragon avatar. I saved this one for last due to the fact that it has as an ability, and if I kept this deck sealed, it's worth like at least $100. The deck sealed is $100, or last I looked like 6 months ago. But this has an ability called Eminence, which means if it's in the battlefield or you're in the zone for the commander, dragons cost 1 less to play. And then for its bottom ability, however many dragons attack, you draw that many cards, and then you can put whatever card from your hand on the battlefield. That's not an instant or sorcery. Oh, I used the deck recently. So say, this is my, say that's my hand. I have three dragons attacking. I'll draw 3, and these will go straight into my hand. And the likelihood at this point, which means we're nearing endgame, I need to get endgame items. Which I would probably end up putting this onto the field. Taigam Ojutai's Master. It's a 3/4 human monk for 2 white and a blue. Getting that for free? Absolutely. But instants and sorceries, and including dragon spells I cast, can't be countered by spells and abilities. That's the only important part about it. Also, these super dope lands. They're super dope. But yeah, that's the point of the deck. Get dragons out, smash face, win the game. It's a slow deck, but I like it, and that's all that matters. But with that being said, that's it. All my decks I've gone through all 18 commander decks and 3 non-commander decks. Now it is time for me to upload these videos and get on some Fortnite for the rest of the night. But before ending off, as in the end of part 1, I gotta say I'll do my little spiel. Go ahead on over to w.gg, pick yourself up some Dragonade. Pick yourself up some Dragonade or some Galaxy Grenade, both amazing flavors. Dragonade is a dragon fruit strawberry lemonade, and the Galaxy Grenade is a watermelon guava lime explosion. There's also Dub Sludge, the new flavor they just dropped, which I am excited for. I'm picking it up on Friday. It's called Push and Punch. It is just fruit punch. But they just dropped it like a couple days ago, and I'm ready for that. We got a whole slew of things going on. We have We have um, we have a Discord I'm in. I will leave the link to that, invite link to that in the description. We have groups for just about everything. We have voice channels for just about everything. Fortnite, Fall Guys, Roblox, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2. We do D&D. We do game nights every Wednesday. We do movie nights every other Monday. We help streamers reach affiliate on Twitch. We have one of the guys that are just about to hit it, and they helped me hit it in a month. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the sponsors. Use code WSAE, which is We Suck at Everything, for 10% off your order. Go to Humble Bundle, sign up for Humble Choice using Adam Jr. Tiny. It will give you a percentage off of your subscription, and I will get a kickback of your first purchase while you're on Humble Choice. And then I am also partnered up with GameStop. I'm assuming my code is Adam Jr. Tiny or some sort of thing like that. Adam Jr., Junior Tiny, Adam Tiny, something like that. I still haven't figured it out yet, but I'm working on it. But yeah, Humble Bundle, GameStop. Without further ado, I'll catch you guys in part 3 that'll be up in a couple days, which will be going through my binder. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Peace.